So today's recipe is a utterly delicious deep fried mussel empanada. Super yum. First I'm going to make the pastry. It's a very simple affair of flour, a little salt, a little butter and mainly water. Pastry really is the one place where you need to kind of follow the rules, otherwise things can go disastrously wrong. And I want 175 grams of plain flour, and into that add a half teaspoon of salt. Then add in 30 grams of butter. Pinch that into the flour until you have a very fine, barely noticeable crumb, because it's not a lot of butter. Crummy, mealy kind of look, like whizzed up breadcrumbs. Then take 90 mils, and be pretty precise about this, of warm water, kind of tip it around all over the flour and then work it into the flour with a fork. This work won't take long, you're just kind of bringing it together. I don't want to leave any bits in a bowl. I kind of think, I genuinely believe that ingredients have feelings. And so if you see any little bits of dough left in the bowl, that they never got to go to the party. I don't like stragglers, you know, I'll always go back and we'll all get out together. This is going to give me a very elastic empanada pastry, but it will only become elastic after you've given it some work. So I'm just pushing it out with the heel of my hand, turning it round, bringing it back and pushing it out again. Turning it round, bringing it back, pushing it out again, turning it round, bringing it back, pushing it out again.
Dough workout.
It's a dough workout. It's about as big a workout as I ever get. You know, the gym and all its machines is a forest of doom for me. I hate the gym. Give it a good 3 minutes of really working all of those glutens and water and butter together until it's kind of tight and elasticy, and then leave it to sit there for about half an hour. Don't put it in the fridge, just leave it on the side, maybe under a slightly damp cloth until it's needed. Now for the filling. Take 2 eggs, put them in a pan, fill it up with water and hard boil them. It'll probably take about 7 minutes, so they can just crack on with it. Okay, crack on with it. Take half a large, or one small to medium onion, and dice it quite fine, but you don't have to be too precious about it. And then saute that onion in about 40 grams of butter with a little bit of olive oil. You really, really, really want to cook the onions to the point that they're incredibly soft. About 3 cloves of garlic. Your onions need to be cooked patiently until they are undeniably soft. While your onions are cooking, take about a half teaspoon of proper saffron threads. They should smell very strongly of iodine and be like little pieces of thread.
What is saffron?
Saffron is the stamens of the crocus, of a variety of crocus that produces saffron. And it has a strong smell, as I say, of iodine. So put that in a cup with a little bit of warm water just to get the colour and the taste coming out. The onions are soft now, so we can add our spices. Add an industrial bombardment of black pepper. Then put in 1 teaspoon of cumin and half a teaspoon of mild chili powder. So with the onions cooking and your saffron water on the side, take your net of mussels and tip them into a big colander. They might be slightly open, but if you bounce them up and down under fresh running water, which they don't like fresh water, that will kind of close them and kind of rinse off any grit or sand. Bring your mussels onto the side. It's now time to clean the mussels. It's very, very easy. You see here on the side, this is called the beard. You just want to grab that in your fingers and wiggle it out. If the mussels are open, the minute you clamp the beard, they'll know that something's up and they'll close. If they don't close, then chuck those mussels away straight away. There's your beard. The bit of kind of seaweed that the mussels latched onto, that it hangs from its rope or clasps onto the rope. then you just pull it out and put your mussels in a bowl as you fill it. It'll take you kind of 5 or 10 minutes to do. Okay, so now back to the onions, which I'm going to take out of the pan. That amazing smell of cumin and garlic and onions is absolutely delicious. Put your pan back on the heat, and when you kind of feel it's there, tip the mussels in. All they need is the water that's clinging to their shells to kind of get the steam going. You really don't need to kind of add any extra liquid, and put a lid on. After about a minute, you'll see some of them have already started to open up. But that'll mainly be the ones on the bottom, and you want to get them all cooked evenly, so turn the whole lot over with a big spoon and steam them open, but don't overcook them because they're going to be the whole thing. Once the mussels are in the pasty, they're going to be cooked again. They're done. What's really important is the liquid in the bottom of the pan. That's pure mussel liquor. That's real value. Okay. Get the mussel pan and put it back on the heat. Okay, onions are going back in the pan. And onto the onions is going the mussel juice. And into the mussel juice is going the saffron water. Making sure you get every little strand in there. You want to kind of evaporate the mussel juice into the onions, and it should be all nice and kind of moist and stuff, but not overly wet. And now you can start taking the mussels out of their shells. So open them up. You probably pick it out with your fingers and collect all your mussels. Crack your eggs, peel them, and then chop them up and put them in with your mussels. Two great things that come out of a shell: eggs and mussels. Your bunch of parsley, you want a lot of parsley, like a big handful of parsley. Chop it quite fine, don't be too rough with it, but you put, because I want the stalks to go in and all, nothing wrong with parsley stalks. Right, so parsley's going in now. And now finally, the onion mix is going in. Mix all of that together. Now I'm going to have a little taste. Oh, that is absolutely delicious. Right, that is it. Take your empanada pastry and divide it into 3. Then get a little bit of flour and put it over your work surface, because although the empanadas are unlikely to stick, you just want to make sure that they absolutely don't. Take 1/3 of your empanada pastry, put it on your floured surface, and then roll it, turning it slightly, about 30 degrees, and rolling it again, then turning it over to stop it sticking onto your rolling pin, getting a bit more flour on it, and turn it around until it's probably a couple of mils thick. You can make big empanadas or you can make small ones, but for the ones I'm making today, which should make 6, I'm using the saucer of a teacup to cut around. Take a spoon and put a little of your mussel mix into the middle of your empanada disc. Don't overfill it. What you have to remember is you're going to pull the back over to the front, and you don't want to force the stuffing out of the front. Now take your brush and paint a kind of eggy edging quite tight in to the edge of your filling, and then take the back of your empanada disc and pull it over to the front. Go round from one side to the other, so you're kind of always forcing the air out in one direction, and just tap them down so that it sticks together. Very carefully, pick up each, pinch the air out all the way around. Put the empanada back down in the flour, and just crimp the edges with a fork to make sure that they really are as closed as they can be. Look at that. Pour your sunflower oil into a wok to a height where you know that your empanadas can freely float around and be easy to turn over. You want to heat the oil to about 170 degrees. An automatic fryer would do all the measuring of temperature for you. So I want this to be about 170. So now being very careful, I'm probably only going to do about 2 at a time, just slip them into the oil. There we go. Don't cram them in. After about a minute or two, flip them over onto their other side. What you want to achieve is golden brown on both sides and all over. Right, now, so we're nearly there on these ones. Taking a slotted spoon, lift them out and put them into a tray which has been lined with some kitchen paper, which will drain off any excess grease. Here comes this one. Look at that fluffy, crispy pastry. I'm going to have a little bit of that on its own first. It's crumbly and it's light, even though it's been deep fried. And now enter the empanada. Wow, wow, wow. Meaty sweet mussels, but you can taste the cumin and you can taste the saffron, but they don't overpower the mussels. And then you've got this kind of unctuousness, which is from the onion and grated egg. Look at you, Aggie. I know you want some. I know you want some. And the parsley, and they are absolutely delicious. And I'm eating one now, already thinking about the second one. But they are piping hot. I just decided on a whim today to put the chili in. And it really kind of makes the whole thing a little bit deeper. It's just that combination of the cumin and it's so juicy. It's so crispy on the outside. This is just pure joy. I hope you've enjoyed today's mussel empanadas, and see you next week for something green that grows at the end of your garden. Love and butter. See you soon.